Hey everyone, my name is Maddie. Ever since I was a kid, I loved public speaking and writing for fun. It gave me an outlet to discuss exactly what was on my mind without judgment. However, as I got older, I started realizing the importance of fully being yourself. Rather than keeping a journal of all my thoughts, the Mad Tea Talk is raw and honest, coming forward about life's challenges. This show is all about loving, accepting, and improving yourself. From wide ranges of self-reflection, growth, friendships, and relationships, all topics are discussed in a motivating yet honest light. Thank you to all who listen, as I am so thankful for the support you have given me. And if you're new to the Mad Tea Talk, it is available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon podcasts, with every episode available Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Enjoy.
This show is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find the other great shows on the network, head over to the deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Deluxe Edition. I am your host, Casey Shearer, and with me, once again, Ray, the podcaster.
What's going on over there, Casey?
Hey, not too much, Ray. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. You know what we just did?
Yeah, I do. Interviewed one of the sexiest celebrities of the 1980s.
Yeah,
Jane Badler.
Yeah, and she was awesome.
Yeah. Once again, great interview, man. Awesome job.
Yeah, you killed it, man, as always.
Thank you, sir. If anyone isn't familiar with Jane, she was the very sexy but very evil Diana on V, the miniseries, and then V, the complete series, I guess is the proper title for it. She was also in Mission Impossible, the remake back in the 80s, television movie The Covenant, before moving to Australia. And we get into all of that. And she has a new movie out, just came out on Amazon Prime called Surrogate. Great timing right before Halloween. It's an excellent horror movie.
Oh, yeah. If you're a horror movie junkie like me, you need to jump on this thing because it's good and it should have been in the theaters, but this world is stupid. This would have been huge in the theaters for Halloween. Yeah.
Well, talking to Jane, this film was made in Australia, so things are a little different over in Australia, as we'll find out. So let's get into the interview. Just the plugs very quickly here. Let's see. We are a part of the Deluxe Edition Network, and the podcast of the month this month is Metalhead Journeys. They're a metal podcast. They talk about mainly the metal genre of music, and we can be found at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. We are also on Instagram and Twitter at Deluxe Edition Pod. You can find all of our past shows over at deluxeedition.show. We have t-shirts and merch over at whatamaneuver.net/collection/deluxe-edition. And if you'd like to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/deluxeedition, or you can join our YouTube channel for exclusive perks. And it's all listed on the YouTube join channel. So Ray, your plugs. You
know what else you can do to help out the Deluxe Edition? You can go over to Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to and give us a review. I'm not even asking for a 5-star review. I'm just asking for a review. Or come find us on Facebook or Instagram or wherever and make a comment or like something, because it does make a difference for us in the algorithms. So we super appreciate that stuff, and it's really ain't costing you nothing to do that. So if you could do that, I would super appreciate it. So
yeah, and your plugs, Ray?
That is my plugs today.
All right. You're at the 10 Cent Beer Night podcast.
Yes, I am also the host of the 10 Cent Beer Night podcast.
Yeah, and speaking of algorithms and comments, real quick before we get into the Jane Badler interview, this made my day the other day. We got a comment on our Gary Davis on the YouTube video on the channel, the YouTube channel, from Bubba Blackwell. Dude, and if you don't know who Bubba Blackwell is, Google it. That was fun. It made my fucking day. It really did when I got that alert.
That was cool, man.
Yeah.
When the Daredevil comments on the stuntman, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, really fucking cool. All right, here's our interview with Jane Badler.
Let's do it.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. No, I'm okay for about an hour. I've just got my father-in-law's birthday breakfast. Can you believe it? He's
Sure.
92 years old.
Wow. You're in Australia right now, right?
That's where I live. Yeah.
Yeah. What time is it there?
8 a.m.
Oh, wow. So we're recording at 6, so it's 6 p.m. where we are.
No, I know the times very well in America. That's something I got my son there, so I'm very aware of all the time differences. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something that we wanted to talk about. So since we're talking about it now, Australia, what you went to Australia after Mission Impossible, right?
I did. Can you believe it? 32 years ago, and my agent hasn't spoken to me since.
What?
No, he wouldn't speak to me after I moved.
Well, that's messed up.
I know, because I was doing very well, and he just didn't understand why I would sort of walk away from that, you know?
Yeah, but doesn't he understand that there's like these big things that fly through the sky and can bring you back to LA to make movies?
Do you want to know something? 30 years ago, it was very different.
Really?
Like that now, but it wasn't like that then. Like then you had to be in the country to work. Now everyone's got Zoom and everyone's got, we tape auditions. But at that time you had to be in the room. You couldn't audition on a Zoom or on a, so it's very different now.
Wow.
I know.
Well, sticking with Australia, your new movie. Let's talk about your new movie, Surrogate.
Yeah. Well, I shot 3 movies in the last couple of years. And Surrogates was probably actually the smallest of the 3 films. The other one was Free Fall, which is now on, I think, Hulu. And this one was like a little Aussie film that the most beautiful director, and he asked me to be in it. And I thought, my agent said, oh, if you want to be in it. And I said, okay, I'll be in it. It's an amazing star, Kesty Morassi, who was in Wolf Creek. She's an extraordinary actress. And so I just went, okay. I played a part that I don't normally play, which was kind of good for me, a social worker, very plain. They had me no makeup in browns, I was going, because I like to be glamorous, but it was good for me to do a role like that. And it was actually really fulfilling, to play, a woman that really thinks that there's child abuse going on, and she's there to kind of investigate what's going on. Of course, we know maybe it's child abuse and maybe it's not. This is a horror film after all.
Yeah, great movie. We Ray and I just both recently watched it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wonderful movie. Yeah, I actually got. I was talking to Ray off air about it. I actually got chills at one point watching it. I was like, "Wow, this is."
I know.
Yeah.
What a great job this guy did. I mean, the investor was. He's like a Indonesian investor who had invested in other films. This was his biggest film that he'd ever invested in. He completely left the director alone to do whatever he wanted, and this was the director's first feature, but the script was very strong, and I think that he did a great job. I'm really I'm sure he'll be doing other things.
Oh yeah, like the story's amazing, but what separates this from B movie status to what I think is going to be a top 10 horror movie for 2022, I think is that good, is the acting. There's not any bad B movie acting in this thing whatsoever. It's really good.
How good. He got the best actors. Like a lot of those actors are theater actors. Like I know them because I've seen them in a lot of theater. Yeah. And he really put together like a cast of actors, Yeah,
it makes a big difference.
It really does, especially in horror.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's great. I'm so happy that it's doing so well for him. Like the reviews have been amazing. We're on Amazon Prime now. Now we're in the UK on Amazon Prime. I mean, it's been like, wow, this little film.
It's at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I just looked earlier today. It's really good.
I mean, how amazing is that really when you think about it? Like you do these films that are so much more money with huge stars, and then suddenly like nothing happens, they fall, and then you do this little film and it's like people love it. So you never know.
Right.
I compare it to there's a lot of stuff from the 70s that didn't have big budgets that are just great, like The Exorcist or even like North Dallas 40 doesn't have a big budget, but those are fantastic movies because of the acting. Makes a huge difference. Have you had an actual chance to sit down in a dark room with a bucket of popcorn and watch this thing from start to finish yet?
Oh yeah, I've watched it like 3 times now. As a matter of fact, I did a couple Q&As. In the last one, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just have to come at the end. I can't watch this again." Because like it's it's scary. It's hard to I mean horror films are great, but 3 times I go, okay, I do like this film, but yeah. Yeah, we had a few weeks of screening here in Australia. It went so well that we just kept adding more dates.
Do you like doing horror films?
I do, in that I think I like the fact that I get to play these weird characters. Like, not so much, this film was more of a normal character, but in the last 2 horror films that I did, in Free Fall, I was like a maid that had ties with the devil, a housekeeper. And then in the one that is now being finished, I played a witch with powers. And so, like, that's so much fun to play.
That's similar to 1985's The Covenant. You had some powers in that movie too.
I did, and
Yeah.
I did. This is a very different sort of role, because I do unspeakable things. I shouldn't say that because you haven't seen the film. We'll wait. But I'm really proud of all the films I've done. I think this new one, Trim Season, I'm so proud of. So hopefully that will also create a nice buzz. Yeah.
And when does that come out?
But we're just finishing post now, and a matter of fact, they just sent me a copy. And I've been I'm like chomping at the bit, as they say, to watch it. And it's got like really cool cast, like 5 young women who are all working actresses that work a lot. The lead is incredible. She's a young black actress, and I think the director's young. She's a 30-year-old, very kind of happening young director. So I guess we'll just see you never know whether you get into a big festival or whether the theaters are going to buy it. You're at that point where you don't, because I was also one of the producers and helped with the script. So I have a lot of, I really want this film to do well. Yeah.
Tell us about Free Fall. I haven't heard about it. I haven't seen this one yet.
Yeah, Free Fall is with Sean Ashmore, who was in the X-Men films, and a girl named Andrea Londo, who was in Narcos. They play the leads, and then I'm the third lead. And it's kind of like an exorcism movie. It's beautifully shot. We shot it in LA. And it was released finally. They released it, and it's been on Hulu, and I don't know, I think it was in theaters for a while too. But it's really hard. You know what? I'm sure you guys understand about feature films. It's a hard thing to kind of really get the buzz. And, every once in a while, one film will get a buzz. And how do you hear about all the films out there? Do you know?
Oh, yeah. There's so many.
So many. I know. So many. So, yeah, we'll see. Well, that was great to do, though, because it was kind of my first film back in a long time in America working. So that was good to do for me.
Great. One film that I did see of yours recently in the last few years is 2047, Virtual Revolution.
Oh my God. What about that film?
That was a good one, right?
Yeah, that was good.
What a vision that director had.
Right.
I mean, when I read the script, I went like, what's going on here? Like, what? I had to read it 5 times because he was very ahead of his time. And I really believe if he'd had a bigger budget, and it was such an extraordinary idea that the game becomes the reality, that the game becomes the real world, and that the people watching it are not the real people. You didn't know what was real and what wasn't. And I thought that was extraordinary.
It's it's funny because the lead in that movie reminded me of like a Harrison Ford type.
I know. He was incredible. Mike Dupad, and he lives in LA, and he works a lot. He was fantastic. I loved him. We had a very nice rapport. And when I did that film, I had just gotten off the plane from Australia to France, and something happened in my back on the plane, and I was in excruciating pain when I arrived, and I was on painkillers, and you can see everything was shot in one day. All of my scenes were shot in one day. And so basically I had one huge monologue, and I was like this, and in the middle of it, it was all these lights beaming on me. And I kept going like this. I kept thinking, I can't remember one word, not one word. It was like.
So did you do the thing what all actors do where you just went like this, went, and then just went and filmed?
I don't know. I was sweating. I was literally dripping. I was so worried. And the lights were blaring and I had a backache and I was like jet lag. I don't know if I did. And the director finally started losing his cool with me. Jane, you got to get it together.
Well, you did a great job in it.
Yeah, thank you.
It doesn't. I mean, you pulled it off.
I pulled it off. I don't know how. I said, please, God, please, someone help me with this. Yeah.
All I kept thinking about when I was watching that is the metaverse, right? Isn't that like sort of like what's it, the guy that runs Facebook?
Well, it's a lot like Ready Player One without the gigantic budget. Like, that's the difference. Like, they had a lot more money to throw around in that movie, and I think this movie, if they had more money to throw around, would have been right there at the same level.
I agree. I mean, it's just so hard when you don't have the special effects and you don't have the money behind you. And he tried to get the series. He had an amazing idea for a series. He tried to get that going. He tried to get the next film, but I think he was in LA for the last, I don't know how long he's been there. I don't even know what's happened to him, but anyway.
He could be a homeless guy at this point for all you know, huh?
Who knows? God. LA. LA, I mean, we know LA is not great. That's another subject, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just there. Actually, yeah, Mark says hello, by the way. I was just with Mark the other day.
I love Mark.
Yeah, really... you have any good Mark Singer stories for us?
Mark's like super protective. He's like he's a cool dude. I literally had not seen Mark. We did that we did one of those Comic-Cons in the South, with Atlanta. That's where it was, Atlanta. And I'm not sure how long ago that was, maybe 5 years ago, before COVID. And I don't do a lot of them because I'm far away. It's a hassle for me. But this one was a big one. And he was there. It was like a V thing. He was there. And he was really he was very protective of me. I remember him taking control. And even when we did our Q&A, and I think that's so sweet because, a lot of men don't do that as much nowadays, the young men.
Right.
Even my husband doesn't do that.
Well, once again, the younger guys have pink beards with glitter in them, so they're not as concerned about whether they open the door for a lady or not anymore. So
exactly. And women are very strong right now. They go, don't you do that. I know how to open that door. Excuse me, gender bender. Get that, So it's lovely to have that, Mark's such a lovely gentleman. Yeah. I wish that, when we did the series, I was young, we were, young, of course. I was in my 20s and I was very oblivious to everything, It was like suddenly I was in this huge series and I was a little bit like in my role, feeling the Diana thing happening. And I think I was just oblivious to how lovely Mark was. I didn't really get to know him. He was on the opposing team and how the worked together. And I didn't really get to know him the way now I would want to really get to know who my co-stars were, Yeah,
I can tell you made Merv Griffin very uncomfortable when the kiss came up between the two of you. And he was like, because I saw the interview, and Merv realized that Mark was married at the time, and he became really uncomfortable during that interview. And you were just playing with him. You were just like...
That we did on camera?
Yeah, it was actually on the Merv Griffin show. You were being interviewed about V.
Right.
And he brought up the scene where you kissed Mark. And he's like, that's pretty good, right? Mark's a good-looking guy. And you were like, yeah, kissing was really good. And then someone off stage says, psst, Mark's married. And you can see his face being like, get her on the phone. Jesus.
Yeah, I've got to just find that.
It's on YouTube. You can hop on YouTube and find it. It's brilliant. You're just like, you play it off so fantastically. It's amazing.
But boy, have times changed. Like, who cares if you're married, people are on camera doing all sorts of things these days,
Yeah. And it was just a kiss on camera, and Merv is freaking out because he brought it up and asked you if you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm sure I enjoyed it, I love to see my co-stars. You kidding? I don't get to do that much anymore, damn.
What is the scene like? So is the scene is completely different in Australia, right? The acting scene. Do they have like a Hollywood type place?
No, they don't. I mean, as you know, there's a lot of amazing actors that leave, like, Thor, what's his name? Thor
Yeah,
Hemsworth,
yeah.
and Margot Robbie and on it goes. But here, there's definitely a ceiling. There's just so far that your career can go here. I mean, you can be the biggest name here, but the money is not the same. The treatment of actors is different. There's none of that Hollywood glamour, with the trailers and this and that, and it's raining and the umbrella goes up to shield you, like all of that fabulous stuff that actors get in America. There's none of that here.
So you can just roll into a grocery store and buy stuff and nobody bothers you then, huh?
Are you kidding me? I'm like the best kept secret in this country. Oh my God. It's so hard for me to get work here. You have no idea.
Really?
I knew I was in trouble when my agent called me and said, would I audition for like a laxative commercial, right? I said, excuse me? This was like literally 6 months ago. And the money was like the money a newcomer would get. And I said, are you kidding me? You're asking me to do this? Like this is like humiliating, because I just think that, there comes a point where you go, I'm done with this. If this is what Australia is offering me,
Yeah.
and that's why I have to go to America and work.
But once again, though, your singing career took off in Australia because you have the 3 albums.
Exactly. I spent a lot of years doing that.
Are you going to do another album?
You never say never. But for me, it's all about the material. And recently I worked with one of the great producers. I did a song, my son passed away, as you know, and I did a song that I dedicated to him and I hadn't been in a studio for years, like literally I had no desire to sing it in a studio. And there was a song called One Love that he had written, a demo. And so we got a producer named Fernando Garibay, who's worked with Lady Gaga and Sia. He's one of the great producers. He is incredible. And he worked on the song and we wrote the bridge because it hadn't been done yet. And I'm singing on that song. And after that experience, I just thought, how can I go back to go in a studio and not have that same experience? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the way he worked with my vocals. And when you hear it, it's got such a contemporary sound to it, my vocals. They sound like they could be like anyone on the radio. Like,
absolutely.
But that happens with these kind of producers. It's a very different way of a sound for your voice.
Yeah.
So for me, just to do an album, I'd have to do something that really, for me, was wow.
Yeah. Who did the arrangement on your cover of Can't Get You Out of My Head? Because your version on that's amazing. And when you pair it with the video, it's so good. Good.
Is that the Kylie song?
That's the Kylie song. The video for that's
great.
Amazing. It's perfect.
How amazing is that? I mean, I get chills thinking about it.
Who did the arrangement though that changed it to make it sound like that?
That's a really interesting story. Jeff Bova is a Grammy Award-winning producer who lives in LA. He did my third album, which was called Opus. He did that song. That song, I was working in a band, and I had one of the musicians had the idea. He said, "Why don't we take Kylie's song and slow it down?" Because everything I was doing was very dark, and to take this kind of up-tempo pop song and make it like an obsessive woman who actually was absolutely destroyed by this man who kind of was cut off in a relationship. And so she was like really going to fuck him over, like follow him, go to the ends of the earth to like, and so it kind of became this twisted revenge, weird song. And then I took it to Jeff Bova and he did the arrangement. And then this incredible guy in LA, he did my music video, Losing You as well. That if you check out, it'll blow your mind.
That's another good one.
He did that one as well.
Oh, that makes sense.
And he also did the one called Black Silk Stockings, which was me sort of with these 2 famous drag queens where I'm like injecting all these different Botoxes into my face to stay young. and they're like the assistants on the side dressed in drag.
Yeah.
And it never did that well, but I thought it was fantastic.
Once again, fantastic video.
You
Yeah,
know,
the videos are amazing.
Yeah.
so I'm very, very particular about what I do. And so for me to just do something, you know, I'd have to kind of be aligned with an amazing songwriter, or maybe I'd be doing some new covers with an incredible, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
hard.
I get that.
Yeah.
So how does that tie in? Do you like doing the music videos better than the acting? Like better than like doing something like V or Surrogate, you know?
You know, I absolutely love doing music videos because I think what I am is I'm an actress who loves fantasy. That's the truth. I probably am not that enamored with playing like, you know, a rape victim or a mother of a child with Down syndrome. You know, I'm just bringing that up. It just came to my head.
Sure.
But, you know, I mean, I think those roles are too real. Like I'm playing real people and I find it really depressing. If I play fantasy characters, then I feel this sense of power and empowerment. And I can go into these worlds where I'm powerful. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what I
absolutely.
love. So with the music videos, I have these little tiny days where I can just fantasize, and it's over in a day or 2 days, and it's super fun. Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, what's the scariest thing you've ever encountered in Australia? Because there's some awful monster spiders and bugs there.
I hate them. Honestly, my girlfriend wants me to visit her. She has a house 3 hours away, and she said there's snakes. I went, I'm not coming. Sorry. Too many snakes. Sorry. And so I think the scariest thing that ever happened to me was I had just moved here, literally. I was staying in my husband's little bachelor pad because we weren't married at that point. And he went to work, and I went to the door to open it, and on the door was a spider. I am not kidding. This big. You can imagine the screaming that came out of my mouth, right? And I went and got one of those bug sprays, and I literally sprayed and sprayed and sprayed until the entire can was empty, and the whole spider was white. It was white, and it still was moving.
And he basically just lit a cigarette and just stared at you.
He still moved. So I ran out the door. I screamed and ran out the door.
And yet you still stayed in Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm still here, but I hate the spiders and snakes here. Oh,
Are you glad that you moved to Australia? You happy in Australia?
yeah. It's like I think life's such a journey, as you both probably know. It sort of takes you. It's not just about an acting career or about a singing career. It's about a life career, you know? And it's about how do I make the most of my time on this planet? What lessons can I learn that are going to evolve me to another level of humanity? You know, that's my thing in life. And I think by moving here, I had so many challenges in my life that have propelled me into new and challenging things that I think I'm really grateful. If I stayed in one place, who knows? I would have maybe married an agent and kept doing bad television. I don't know, you know? I don't want to say that, but
Yeah.
what a journey I've been on.
Yeah, you could have married 5 other actors and been divorced 5 times too.
Exactly, you know? So, you know, I've had a really amazing life. Yeah.
It's been, what, 40 years now since V, right?
Yeah, God, it sure has.
Do you ever get sick of talking about it 40 years later?
Never, ever. And actually what I'm doing now is I'm writing my memoir. And I just wrote a scene about V. I just wrote about that period of my life. And it was so much fun to relive how that all happened and what happened and my thought process during that period of when I got V, how I got V, and the whole thing.
How did you get V?
Well, I was doing The Doctors, the soap opera, and
Okay.
I was working with Alec Baldwin, who's had a bit of publicity of late, and we were, you know, we played these kind of he was so adorable in those days. I mean, oh my God, I had such a crush on him, and he did not have a crush on me, which was sad. But we were like always like pushing each other in the scenes, and he was, you know, hated me in the scenes. And I remember like acting, and all of a sudden I got like this message from my agent, oh, you got this audition for a new miniseries. They can't cast this role. And she said, you got to go out to LA. So, in those days, everything was first class. They put you at first class, and it was so nice. So I'm reading the script, and I go, oh, it's only like 4 scenes. It was not like a big role in that first miniseries, like 4 or 5 scenes. And I'm going, yeah, it's okay. It's not a very big role, but, this is a huge opportunity, big miniseries. And they had already started filming and had to stop because Dominique Dunn, one of the leads, had been murdered by her husband or boyfriend.
Yeah, the boyfriend murder.
Yeah, he had the famous writer father,
Yep.
So I went out and I went into this hotel room, and there were like 10 people, and Kenneth Johnson was there, and I didn't even stay very long, And I went back to my hotel room. I was so depressed. I thought, oh, they didn't even keep me there very long. And then I got like a little note slipped under the door, and it said, "Don't leave town." And I remember dancing, twirling in my bedroom, don't leave town. Oh, And then the next morning, that was it. Prosthetics and fast. And the rest is kind of history. This role became like enormous. Like, it was just like the perfect magic of me with the role with Ken Johnson. It was like just one of those extraordinary things.
Yeah, the guinea pig scene, that's one of those things that you see, because, we were young men at that time, and you were a very attractive woman, and now we have to deal with you eating a guinea pig. So and we're trying to balance that out in our lives, and those special effects are pretty good for the time.
Yeah, and how sexy was that film? I mean, oh my God, I'm watching it, and there I am. I was pretty gorgeous, in my 20s, and I'm kind of taking this big fat, guinea pig and going like this. And then they had like those tubings that were in my throat, it's almost like sexual something happening. And I'm going, it's like this kind of thing. I mean, it was like so clever that it wasn't sex. It wasn't anything like that. But yet it was probably more sexy than anything,
Oh, absolutely. I know.
It was so insane, And I remember at the time it took 3 days to film, and I kept going, what is this scene? Like with men and prosthetics, and they have tubes, and oh my God, because now they just would do 1 second of DXR or whatever, and go, poof, and there it is. This was like, it was crazy.
It's much better than the remake version with the eating, because I love practical effects. And that's practical effects, and that's amazing. And it's easy to cheat now with the green screens and everything they can do. So it kind of takes a lot away from the special effects guys who worked really hard on that scene.
They worked really hard. And, it's funny you say that, because when I went back and did the new V, the remake, because I was on that for a season, I hadn't been back to America since I'd left, acting. And that was in 2010, I think, or maybe 2012. I can't remember. And I could not believe how different, like everyone applauded when I got there. And it was so beautiful to make that sort of reference to me. But wow, it was a whole different world. The way we shot scenes and everything was green screen. Everything that I was in was green screen.
How do you feel about the green screens? Like with the acting with other actors, like, were a lot of your scenes without them because of the green screen and stuff? Like, I know a lot of actors who are older say, I miss when I was in the room with the other actors.
Well, I demanded that. Like my, one of my co-stars, who's extraordinary actress. She's had a huge fame since then. Beautiful actress. She was, and we do scenes, and because of that generation, they're not used to giving you, when it's your close-up. See, the whole thing is it's when it's your close-up. She wasn't giving me anything on my close-up. And I'd go, well, wait a minute. When it's your close-up, you're crying and screaming. And I'm going, oh, and there's my close-up, and you're like this. And I said, are you very tired? He's like, tired? She said, no. I said, well, hey, this might be an old-fashioned notion here, but,
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend and I picked that out of a lot of newer films. Like a lot of the actors and actresses now, they have one face that they make throughout the entire film. It's like always just that same look, like you were given. It's like,
I know. And with these huge mega films, these big huge Spider-Mans and these and that. A lot of these actors, they're wonderful actors, but, they're being paid millions and millions of dollars, and they have a lifestyle that they want to support. So often, those beautiful indie films or the ones where you really get your acting chops, they're not doing,
Mm-hmm. Do you like doing the independent films better than the big ones?
Well, I've never done one of those big blockbusters, but I'm sure it's lots of fun, but I'm sure there's an aspect of it could be slightly soulless. I don't know.
At the time, V was pretty big, right? I mean,
yeah. But that was so different because we didn't have like you said, it took 3 days to do that one scene.
Right.
So, I'm so lucky that I was able to, do a big blockbuster at that time.
Right.
Now, I don't want to give a lot away here with Surrogate, but if they did a big blockbuster part 2 and they asked you to be in it, would you be interested?
Oh, totally. Like, especially if David was directing it, that director, he was incredible. Really, we had rehearsal time. We had, we really cared about the motives of the characters. We really worked on a lot of, deep parts of all the characterizations. And it was a fantastic experience. And I think he'd carry that with a big blockbuster. I sure hope that happens for him,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go back to something you said a little bit earlier, that Alec Baldwin did not have a crush on you. How is that possible? I think every man in America might have had a crush on you in the 80s.
I don't know how it was possible. He liked the very thin blonde on the show, who was actually quite bland compared to me. But that's who he was attracted to. And I did have Alec, I don't know if you're watching this, probably not, but I did have a mad crush on you. Now he's got 7 kids, so I'm sure he has no time to be watching this.
Jane, we have a few fan questions. You mentioned something about being on the new V, the more recent V. I don't know if you know this or Mark knows this, but you guys got a lot of heat for this. I'll just read this what this person wrote. Ask her what, if any, allegiance she has to Kenneth Johnson, the original V saga, and its fans, given she readily jumped ship to appear in V 2009. It's made a lot of its fans wonder.
Oh dear. That's so cute. I love that. I mean, aren't they funny, these fans? They're so funny. They're so, but I get it. I mean, when I saw the first season of the new V, I thought this is really cool. Like but it got worse. The second season went completely destroyed. And I get how they could feel that way because they were not respectful to the first V. They did not bring in enough of the old characters. Like, they brought me in and did nothing with me. I mean, I should have been Diana. I should have been powerful. Instead, I was impotent down there in the dungeon. And then they brought Mark in at the very, very end. I mean, too late. Sorry.
Right.
I really think if they'd been smarter and brought, gave me a more interesting storyline, brought Mark in from the beginning of that series, they would have had a hit. But they were very, there was a part that they were not respectful of what had appeared before them. And I can see how the fans would go, my God, that makes me angry that you so readily jump ship. But I was thinking by bringing me in was paying respects to the old series.
Sure. Yeah. But so I haven't seen the new series. I watched the old series. I know your name was the same, Diana, but were you the same? Was it the same character or no?
No. Morena was my character. Morena
Okay.
Baccarat. She played my character. And she got to have all the fun. And I play her mother, like Queen Mother, and they put me in a dungeon where I'm kept because she's so afraid of me and my power. She's so afraid that if I leave the dungeon that I will take over. But I am good now. I am not evil anymore. I see the error of my ways, and I see that humanity is at stake. But she leaves me in the dungeon and I'll have like 1 or 2 scenes and that's it. I'm never able to get out and fight her because I'm the only person who can fight her. So they never get me out of there until the end when she murders me with her lizard tail. And I'm finally out speaking to millions of people that this is going to be the time of freeing humanity. And in comes the tail, and I fly up in the air, and then I say, "Daughter, you will doom us all." And that's the end of my character.
Well, yeah, I think they definitely dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, they did.
You gotta check out this death scene. It's on YouTube.
That's
It is-
good. The death scene's good.
It really was a good scene. I have to say that was a very good scene.
I heard that Kenneth Johnson is in the works for a new V movie. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh yeah, there's been talk about it for 10 years, and I just don't know if he's, I think it's just a very, very expensive, which it should be, and I don't know why I just think the financing is probably what's causing it not to happen,
Yeah.
But I don't know if he'd be bringing back to us. I don't know if he'd be bringing back the old characters. He might, but I think it's more maybe it'll be a recreation with a younger cast. Look, I don't know. It's hard to do it again, isn't it? It's very hard. It was of its time.
Well, I wonder how the fans would feel if Kenneth Johnson doesn't bring any of the old the old characters back. What happened to his allegiance to you?
I don't know if he'd bring me back because, once again, I think there's a little bit of anger. There's a little bit of, like you said, with the fans that I went to that series. He was not part of that series.
They'd completely forgive you if they did it right.
I hope so. They better get going here because we're not getting any younger, all of us.
You go to Comic-Cons. You see how people love you at the Comic-Cons.
Yeah, I know it's good. I do love it. The one I did in Atlanta was actually one of my favorite. The Comic-Cons are the best. They're the best. They're the ones I get a very big audience. If I do the independent, like I did one in Georgia that was just like a monster con or something, and I didn't have there was like no one there. It was a little depressing, that one. I was next to, what's her name? The witch who is the Halloween witch. She's very famous. Well, she got the long black hair and the thing. Anyway, she had like shoes literally like for blocks. And I was like going, like 3 people lined up. My sister was there with me and we're going, oh, this is embarrassing.
Is it fun for you to see all the cosplayers dressed as Diana and all the V characters at the Comic-Cons?
I think it is fun. Yeah. Of course, it's like their fantasy, I mean, it's pretty wild, it's a fantastic thing, really, I wish I lived closer to America. It's just, I've been to Sweden a lot. I've done a lot of things in Sweden, the UK, but I don't really do too many of them, but that's okay,
Sure. All right. We have another fan question here from Ron from Barrel Aged Flicks. On many of your television appearances, you were constantly being complimented on your good looks. Was there ever a time that the host took it too far? I can remember an appearance on the Pat Sajak show where he basically was asking you to take your top off on live television.
Oh my God, I can't remember that either. Oh my God. I think, I was of the generation, this was before the Me Too generation. Like these women today would not put up with that, but I think I was of the generation where that was almost expected. It was a very macho world, and there was a lot of things that did happen for me. I mean, thank God I was never assaulted, but I certainly had a lot of people go too far that were in power positions. And I was very sweet always, it was always that sweetness and, oh, sorry, Mr. So-and-so, I just need to get something, or I need to, like that sort of thing, rather than going, like slapping them and all that. I mean, I think you just put up with it. And that does a lot of damage to your psyche as you get older, because you start to believe that you are not in the same power position as the people that are doing that to you,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to name names, but of course, it was rife with that.
Yeah. Wow. All right, Mike Zellner, how did she feel when they remade or rebooted the series V?
Well, I just want to say one thing. They were not going to use me in that series. And I literally flew to LA because I thought no one can play Diana but me. No one. I didn't realize that the Diana character was not going to be me, but was like another Diana. But I thought it was me, and they were looking to Angelica Houston for that role. And so I pretended that I was in LA, and I just flew there off my own bat and asked to see the producer. And we chatted, and he goes, "Oh," he said, "you're much more, like, you look fantastic, and you're so cute and interesting, and I didn't think about using you." Can you believe this? And so in the end, I had to audition for the role, and I got the role. And it could have happened because I went after it. I literally went after that role because I just felt like I needed to be in that show.
So
this is for the reboot?
Yeah. So you auditioned for a role that you basically created.
I know.
And then they didn't give you that role because they're dumb.
They gave me the role of Diana, but then they didn't do anything with the role, you know.
Right.
So it was like, you know, it was pretty painful, the whole experience. But I'm still glad that it just goes to show in life, if you really want something and you really go after it, you just might get it, you know?
Yeah. Jane, is there anything that you mentioned, you know, we've talked about some of your newer movies in the beginning of the show. Is there anything that you've done that you really want people to see that they maybe haven't seen yet? Other than, you know, we talked about Free Fall, Surrogate, the newer ones.
No, I think I'm really, really just excited for Trim season to come out, and definitely want everyone to go and see that once it gets out there, because I think you guys are going to be blown. Talk about scary. Oh my God, this is a really scary film. And I think also, just excited to, to eventually kind of get my memoir out, and that's something that I'm now spending a lot of my time doing. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. We look forward to that coming out. Ray, you have anything else for Jane?
No, other than this has been absolutely fantastic chatting with you.
You too. You guys are really good. I'm telling you.
Thank you, Jane.
Yeah. But you have a lovely kind of like light way of, I just love this interview. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautiful as ever. Plugs, where can people find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram, Jane Badler World. And I'm also on Twitter, which is a little more political, Jane Badler. And I'm on Facebook, but not really. I just sort of, so I'm really most active on Instagram.
All right.
And TikTok. I'm started TikTok. Oh God, that's hard.
Oh yeah, tell us about your TikTok. What are you doing over on TikTok?
Oh my God, every once in a while I do something, like, I don't know, like a dance or, I'm trying to figure it all out. TikTok's hard, isn't it?
That's why I just stay off the TikTok, because I don't want to go on there and dance. It's just, I don't know what the hell they're doing over there.
I thought, am I prostituting myself? What is this?
Yeah, you're trying to figure out if it's TikTok or OnlyFans. You're just trying to figure it out.
I just put a post up on my Instagram. Literally, I had this new leopard dress, so sexy and cute. And I thought, I feel so good. I'm going to dance. So I did like this little thing of dancing and my leopard dress. And I put that up on my Instagram. And I went, am I selling my soul here? What is this? Yeah.
Well, you look good doing it, Jane.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this for us.
Oh, my pleasure. Right. Let me know when it's going to be on. And
absolutely, yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay, fantastic. All right, bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.